Hello, welcome to Eliza Labs Body Demos. Today we have Connors from Bonsai, who's going to introduce their plugin that lets anybody create, remix, and monetize AI media. Connors, it's great to have you here. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to learning more around how you're letting agents use video LLMs. But yeah, firstly, do you want to introduce yourself, introduce Bonsai, and then we can jump into the tutorial?
Yeah, totally. Thanks for having me here. So yeah, I'm one of the co-founders at Bonsai Labs. We've been hacking on Eliza since before it blew up or late last year. And with Bonsai, we allow anyone to, as you said, create, remix, and monetize their AI media. And we do so through a web app. It's our studio app for humans. And of course, through our agentic stack, which is generation APIs wrapped with a protocol that lets you pay per request with your wallet. And so the thinking is that agents can actually generate content themselves. And instead of paying for some VO subscription or whatever, they can just pay with the USDC that's in their wallet. And so that's the plugin that we have live now. We actually just shipped our mini app and our agent to the base app yesterday.
And so today you're going to run through how to basically let Eliza generate video and demonstrate how you're doing that on Farcaster. Yeah. Feel free to take that away, Carlos.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so our agent is deployed to Farcaster. As there is a plugin for Farcaster for elizaOS. So we have our agent Slopper here running, and he's listening for any mentions. And so the way it works on Farcaster and on the base app is you just tag him, you say generate a video, you provide a prompt, and if you provide an image or you say it within the context of an image or a token, then he'll go run through the generation, he'll pay for the request with his wallet, and then respond with the mini app link, which is here. In this case, he generated a video using my image as the first frame.
Nice.
And in my experience, the Farcaster web app is a bit wonky sometimes, but I think as long as I hit continue here, hit approve over here on my phone, and then, yeah, there you go. So in this case, there's the video. Hey, let me back it up a little bit. Not exactly the cinematic thing that I wanted, but I wasn't really descriptive either. So he just did it.
Interesting.
And so, go ahead.
I think the Farcaster UI is, some barriers to entry, let's say sometimes, but it's pretty easy, really. Much easier than going to an LLM, I guess, if you're Farcaster savvy or already on there.
Yeah.
So what's going on behind the scenes? What's going on behind the scenes here? What have you built that lets users come in and do this? Yeah. And all of that above.
Totally. Yeah. So I guess I'll get into what the installation process for the plugin actually looks like. So if I go to the docs real quick, it's a plugin that you can install pretty quickly off of a fresh elizaOS v2 instance. You just do elizaOS plugins, add on Bonsai / plugin - Bonsai, add it to your agent's character file. And then you have access to these exports, which is honestly, it's stupid easy to generate. We made it so easy to generate content. And yeah, for example, Clanker is an agent on Farcaster that blew up and continues actually to be used to launch tokens from the feed. So you can just say, hey, add Clanker, launch token, Eliza or Slop or whatever, and use this symbol, use this image. And then he responds with the actual token. So we copied the model where now you can say, hey, Slopper, generate a video, and here's like my command, right? And so this is how actually we accomplish it. So if you want to do it, if you wanted to do it for a Clanker, we just show like a guide real quick. Okay, you have a Clanker token in mind that already launched, or you launched it, and now you want your agent to autonomously create content for it. So you would fetch the token information, and then you initialize the generation service with a VM account. So VM is like the wallet client for Node.js that just enables EVM transactions. So there's 3 lines. The 3 lines here are importing the exports from the plugin. You initialize the accounts with a private key, and then you initialize the generation service by passing in the account, passing in the chain, which in this case it's base. That's where you pay for the transactions. So you need to have the USDC in that wallet on the base chain, and of course an optional RPC URL. If you're using Coinbase CDP, it's actually much easier. You can go to their developer console and get the API key to spin up wallets on the fly. And when it comes to actually generating the content and sending along the request, this is the part that I think is the sickest, because we've boiled it down to a couple lines. So in the case of Bonsai, we have this concept of templates. The templates can be an image, a story, or a video. In the case of the Farcaster example I just showed you, that's a video template. In some cases, we have sub-templates. So for example, I'm sure you've seen popular formats of AI media online, Yeti vlogs, animals and the Olympics, just like funny things like that. And so we have this concept where we can create the sub templates so that when you provide your ultimate like prompt, it gets glorified to match the template that you wanted. You just have to type in cats wrestling, right? And that would give you like the cool format of the cats and of the animals in the Olympics. We're actually going to open it up so that it can be UGC, so people can submit their own sub templates and then monetize those. But I think that's a few weeks out. And then last is obviously the prompt. What actually do you want? If you want to send along to the LLM, and so you can optionally enhance that. That'll cost you a couple cents, and that goes through the glorification that I mentioned earlier. And then to actually generate, you just say generation service.create. You pass along the prompt or the enhanced prompt, the template, any image data that you want to pass in. So if it's a video, if you want a start frame, you pass in the image. If you want to go image to image, you can also do that. And of course, the sub template ID. So what that's going to do under the hood, and this is where we've abstracted a lot of things, is it'll call our API service. Our API service is publicly available, and it's not gated by API keys or subscriptions. It's gated by it's wrapped with the X402 protocol from Coinbase. And that essentially allows your APIs to return with a 402 HTTP header that says payment required. And this is how much you have to pay. This is the address, this is the chain, and a bunch of other metadata. And so then what the client does, in this case, our agents plugin, it handles that response. And then with the VM instance passed in, it'll pay for the generation with the wallet, right? So for video, it'll be like 50 cents. If it's Hilo AI, if it's VO, it'll be like $2.50. If it's image, it's like a penny. And yeah, so it'll just like wrap that whole thing, send along the request. Our API will say, okay, great, payment accepted, run through the generation, go through everything it needs to do through our Eliza instance, and then return with the generation response, right? If you look at step 4 here, this is the generation response. It's the text, it's the image, it's the video, and any template data that you might need to like maybe continuously generate content. And yeah, that's essentially it, man. It's 4 steps. It's super easy. I could probably walk through like the actual code, but I think this is the beauty of it, that you can build an agent that does anything, right? But then when it comes to generating media and content, you don't want to deal with integrating all the LLMs and like paying for subscriptions. You just call our plugin, you call our API, and autonomously create content, do whatever you want with it.
So super easy to set up. And just to replay that, I guess the process for people to access the video generation. So effectively your API is wrapped with X402. When somebody wants to use the service, whether that's an agent or a human, they will have the charge for the compute or accessing that individual video generation given to them in the web browser. They pay that fee that goes effectively to the LLM to cover the costs of generating what they've asked for. And it's as simple as that. Yeah.
Basically, yeah. Yes. And I mean, if I were to get into the file code for Slopper, this is our like Eliza instance that's deployed. It's a monster at this point, but this file in particular handles the interaction that you saw in the Farcaster UI. If I go up to the plugin real quick, you can see that I'm importing a bunch of things. I'm importing the generation service, the template types, and then create smart media. But I'll get right into the generation service. So you can see there on this line 76 here, I'm instantiating the service as we have in the documents. Then if I go further along, we process everything the user passed in. We process the conversation, the context of which he was mentioned in. So if it was a Clanker token or a Zora coin, Zora coins are popping off lately. Parse out everything we need and then send along the create a request. So you can see here, I'm passing in a prompt, the template, the image, sub template ID. I pass along a seed. That's just like something that we use as well. And any template data that we need, pass along. Yeah, once I have that generation response, you can see here, generated content is what we get back. I also log the payment response to know what the transaction hash was. In theory, our agent could respond and say, hey, here's your video and here's a transaction hash, how much it cost. That probably would be useful for people. Do a couple cleanup things. And then, yeah, when it comes to like actually creating the cast, I think it's something like create cast. Okay, that's not it. Handle cast. No. Yeah, let's create smart media and then.
Bit of an off-piece question. When you say Farcaster client at the top of the file, is this another Eliza plugin Farcaster?
Yeah.
Or is this? Yeah. Okay. Nice.
Yeah, this is the official Farcaster plugin for Eliza.
Nice. And you've got. I guess you're just using parts of that plugin to be able to interact with Bonsai already. So I guess the client call it's a pre-existing part of this, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we heavily modified it for our own purposes, but it's essentially someone could today install the Farcaster client, and in the same place where they do, I think there's like a posts like interaction file. If I go to client Farcaster, and then if I go to like clients, no, it's interactions. Yeah, I told you we heavily modified it. So it's interactions in our instance, but I think it's called posts. I think all this does is it literally listens for mentions and then decides whether or not to respond and then actually respond. And so someone could just like slap in here our plugin and do what we're doing.
I see. We want to give away that secret sauce then, would we?
Yeah.
Nice. Look, that's an awesome walkthrough. I think one question for me is, somebody was going to get started. You have your documentation, so you've got this guide right here in front of you that they can follow along with. How would they get in touch? Can they join a community? Is there somewhere else that they should be going to? Yeah, all of the above.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think probably the best place to get in touch with us is through Twitter. We don't really manage Discords. We're actually a super lean team. This is me and my co-founder, and we're both hardcore devs. So I'm sure you understand when you're a lean team, it's not exactly top priority to have a Discord for a community. But yeah, Discord, Twitter would probably be best. Also on Farcaster, we're going to be a lot more active there as well.
Nice. Awesome. Look, thank you so much for coming into the plugin. I think this is great. Video content is obviously going to become more and more popular. So being able to do that through Eliza is just a very nice thing to see organically happen. And yeah, to anyone listening, I'll drop the links in the description. And yeah, let's call that a wrap. Thank you so much. Cheers,
Awesome.
Connor.
Cheers, Ben.
Thanks.